All right, welcome to Sports Edge. I'm your guy KJ, here to deliver you my top five picks for Week 4. Well, let me start out by saying Week 3, that was just crazy. It was a bloodbath. A lot of my picks didn't come through. It was just a mess, man. So at the end of it, it put me at 8-8 for the season so far. So still pretty good, average 8-8, breaking even. So I think Week 4, I'm going to get back on track to my winning ways. So my top five picks. Let me go down. Let me give you a rundown. So first one I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to look at the Seahawks in the Cardinals game. So Sam Darnold, he's been playing really, really well right now. He's completing over 70% of his passes. He's doing really well keeping drives alive. So definitely, Seahawks is clicking on all on all cylinders. And then you got Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's been doing really well. The wide receiver for the Seahawks. They just been playing really, really well. I gotta admit, they did surprise me last week, beating on the Steelers the way they did. So definitely, I got my eye on the Seahawks now. They didn't gain my respect and all that good stuff. So I'm watching the Seahawks now closely. So versus the Cardinals. The Cardinals, their run game is not really that good. They're just not performing. They're okay. They're okay. But I think the Seahawks are really trying to make a push to be a legitimate contender this year. And so I think the Seahawks got this. I really do. And the Seahawks, they got one of the best run defenses. So I think the Seahawks got this game. So I will go ahead and go with the Seahawks. Game number 2, I'm going with got the Steelers versus the Vikings. So Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, they're extremely good as playing as underdogs. They're very, very, very good. So usually when they're underdogs, they typically win those games. So I'm going to go ahead with that. So Pittsburgh offensive line, they've been playing extremely well. They've been creating good run lanes, and so the running game should be clicking. And then the Vikings, let's speak on them for a second. The Vikings, they lost their starting quarterback. They got Carson Wentz in there. So there's a reason why Carson Wentz is the backup at this point of his career. Is he a competent backup quarterback? Yeah, I believe so. But I think the defense that he's going to see next week or this week coming up for Week 4 against the Steelers, and I think that he's going to get reminded why he's a backup quarterback. The Vikings got away with beating a very sloppy and undisciplined Bengals team. I'm not quite sure what was going on with the Bengals last week. I mean, I get it. Burrow was out, but they just made the Vikings look much better than what they actually were. So credit to them for getting the win, but come on now. They're not that good, right? So, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Steelers in this game. So I think they got this one. Game number 3 that I'm looking at is the Commanders versus the Falcons. So the Falcons, they have very, very suspect offense. Offense is poor, scoring about 14 points a game. They just fired their wide receiver coach after getting blown out 30-0 against the Carolina Panthers this past week. Just really, really poor. Washington Commanders, they're doing pretty well. They're scoring at least 3 touchdowns or 26 or more points during this season for his offense. They have a very balanced attack. I like Cliff Kingsbury's offensive scheme. And then also, too, you got Jaden Daniels. He's always a good playmaker. He's a little banged up, so I'm not quite sure if he's going to start in that game. But, still, I would say the Commanders is just a better team from top to bottom. So I got the Commanders in that game. Then we're going to move on to the Eagles versus the Buccaneers. Off top, glaring situation here. The Philadelphia Eagles, they're just winners, man. They just know how to win games. I mean, this isn't so much for the Super Bowl slump or whatever regression. The Eagles are still clicking. I mean, they're not scoring tons of points and blowing people out left and right, but they're just winning games. They know how to win games. They came back, I believe last week, they came back and won that game. So they're just a really good, solid team. They're very balanced. I'm a fan of the Eagles. I'm a fan of Jalen Hurts as a player, as a human being. I think that they just have a real solid team, solid offense, solid defense. They just play well together. They got Saquon Barkley. I mean, I just don't see anyone stopping them at this point right now. I mean, at least not right now. Versus the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, from what I understand, is hurt. He's a little injured, a little banged up. He's probably going to play, but he's not going to be at 100%. Mike Evans, the wide receiver, one of their top wide receiver dogs, he's also banged up. He may play, but he's not going to be at 100%. So with that being said, I think it's safe to say that the Eagles got this one. So I'm going to go with the Eagles in this game to get it done. And so I don't foresee them having too much problems with the Buccaneers. I believe the Buccaneers, every game they've won, I think they came from behind to win those games. So I think that their luck runs out this week. Then finally, I'm going to go to the Jets and the Dolphins. Believe that the Jets is going to win this game. Tyrod Taylor, man, he's a guy that everybody forgot about. He's actually a legitimate quarterback. I've always had my eye on Tyrod Taylor as far as a quarterback. I thought he was a solid quarterback, maybe just not given the best chance, the best circumstances to succeed. Pretty good quarterback. I'm not saying he's a world beater. I'm not saying that he's a top 5 quarterback, but he can be a legitimate starter with the right pieces. And so he's stepping in there for Justin Fields for the Jets versus the Dolphins. The Dolphins have very poor defense. They're dead last. You got Tua, who is, I know no shade to Tua, but he's fragile. As far as what you would need in an NFL quarterback, he's just not that durable. So one good hit, you just don't know if that's the end of the season. Tua has not been performing very well this year, so there is that as well. So New York has been playing actually pretty well as far as their offense, and then you already know their defense. They got Sauce Gardner. They got some pretty good pieces on defense. So offense, they got Tyrod Taylor, they got Garrett Wilson, they got Breece Hall. So they got some pieces. The Jets. So even though they're on the road, I'm gonna go ahead and say that the Jets, they got this one. I believe they're going to put some things together. And it might be a good game, close game, but I think the Jets get the job done. So those are my 5 picks. All right. Well, can't wait for this week to start. Can't wait for the first game, the Thursday night football game. Hope everybody have a great night, a great week, and can't wait for this NFL week to start. All right.